Yes or no? No. Interesting. So you don't? Oh, you do take pleasure from the failure of others, but no one is your rival, right? No one is sort of more as powerful as you, and therefore you don't feel like you have any rivals. Okay, interesting. That's a very good sort of, I would say, loophole to this. But hi, how are you today? Oh yeah, come on in, come on in. Yes, have a seat. I do have some fireproof seating right over there. Yeah, you are a bit warm and you're a bit bright, but you know what? It's totally fine. I've dealt with a lot worse. Yes, I have. Absolutely. Yes, go ahead and sit down. Let me just have a sip of my tea. Okay, perfect. So tell me, what brings you in today? Okay, so you've been referred by a few people? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Um, yeah, I definitely have heard a few things about you. Is this your first time in therapy? Yeah. Okay, good, good. Okay, good to know. You know, that's very important. So this is your first time in therapy, so we are going to have to uh, deal with a few things, just have some information sort of gathered. But I have also, this is a safe space. Everything that's shared here, I'm not going to share with anybody else. And, you know, people may or may not talk about you. I have heard a few things. You are not an unknown entity to me, right? Yeah, you are, of course, the sun. But let's just go ahead and get started with some of the information that I need, as well as sort of the agenda for today, because this is your first time, right? So let's just go ahead and do that. As you have here, my little list. So just introductions. Me, I'm, of course, your therapist. I'm Basil. Nice to meet you. It's not every day that I end up having a client that is, how do I say this? Perhaps as important as you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know you're very important, and I know you're very important. So it's important that we both know that you are important. So just know that I have dealt with a lot of celestial beings and celestial bodies. I've dealt with a lot of different ethereal beings as well. So please, if you feel like you have to dumb down a few things just for my benefit, please don't feel the need to do that. It's totally fine. But we are going to go through your history as well as some of your sort of important relationships. I think that that's really important, especially because of who referred you, right? Yeah, I know. I know you don't particularly love the moon, but she did refer you. And I do think that it's important that we sort of discuss this because you do have a collab coming up. And, she did talk a lot about you. I can't say what, but she did say a lot. And we are going to do a little test at the end. Yes, this is a test is sort of to gauge a particular condition that you might have. Yeah, I'm not going to say what because I don't want to bias you, right? So we'll just go ahead and slot that in for later towards the end of our session. Yeah. Okay, so first, I'd like to just sort of get your full name. So, do you go by the Sun? Is the your first name, or is it more of an honorific? Okay, yeah, totally. Okay, and your age, how many billions? Okay, totally. Getting up there, I would say, yeah. Okay. In terms of BO, now this is a question I generally ask celestial bodies because celestial bodies and sort of planets and stuff like that, they tend to have a very particular scent, a very particular musk, I would say. And it really is, it does sort of feel like a part of them. And so I want to make sure that I understand how you view yourself because it's very important in sort of celestial culture, right? Yeah. So, and sort of just on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least smelly and 10 being the most smelly, how smelly would you sort of rate yourself? 0. Okay, interesting. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you have an emergency contact? Okay. Totally. So just, is that with a capital G, God? Yeah, okay. Okay. And can you tell me about a little bit about your core? Yeah, so this is sort of a situation where normally I would ask sort of human clients and stuff just about their upbringing and stuff, but I also find that with celestial bodies and planets, their core plays a very big part of who they are. So if you could tell me a little bit about yours. Okay. Okay, and now I just wanted to put this out there. So, uh, in terms of your identity, your celestial identity, do you identify as a star, or do you perhaps more so identify as a planet, or something else entirely? You know, it can be many different things. Okay, so I'll just do that. Okay, and then gender. Okay, just cross that out basically. Do you have any hobbies? You know, just some hobbies so that I get to know you a little bit better. Oh, you've taken up knitting. Oh, that's very nice. You know, I really love to knit actually myself. Actually, not knitting in particular. I do like crocheting. Crocheting is more my thing. However, knitting seems very fun. Yeah, so what do you knit with? Okay, yeah. Just sort of like strands of pure flame. Oh, that sounds so good. Have you made anything? Oh, you're wearing this. You made the sweater you're wearing. Oh, it looks wonderful. Oh, you did such a good job. Okay. Okay, good to know. Yeah, see, it's just like a little connection that we can have. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and so now that that is done, let's talk about your history. So I have heard a lot of things about you. The sun, you know, you provide life, right? You're very important. We both know this. You're very, very important. Let's just say, let's start with the big thing. Let's start with the Big Bang. So you were around for that, right? You were just a wee babe, I'm sure, but you were around for the Big Bang. Can you tell me how that affected you emotionally? Okay. Okay, so you felt sort of neglected. Yeah, like there was a lot of things happening all at once and very chaotic. Okay. So you sort of figured out how to sort of pull people into your orbit, get people to sort of get you the attention you sort of deserve. Yes, okay, yeah, totally. Absolutely, yeah. You know, you have, yeah, absolutely. I would agree that for a lot of people, they need a specific amount of attention or just sort of. They need to be taken care of, right? And so to get people to see them so that they can be taken care of, I think is pretty important, especially at a young age. You know, that's why like babies cry, planets explode, that sort of thing. Yeah, so we have that. So can you tell me a little bit about your parents then? Yes, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I do know that you're under sort of the celestial contract. You're not allowed to talk about your parents. You're not allowed to talk about them, right? I guess, is there anything you can say, anything you want to say? Okay, I understand. I understand you can't say very much, you know, but that's okay. I will not hold that against you. Okay, well, let us talk about okay, there's two big elephants in the room that we really need to talk about. The first one is the little bit of threatening that you've been doing. Yeah. Yeah. So you've sort of told a few scientists that, you know, someday in the future you'll likely sort of explode and sort of burn everything. Is that right? Yes, okay. And so what made you say that? Okay, you were just feeling hungry that day. Okay. So do you actually feel that way? Okay. You feel that way sometimes. Okay. That's fine. I mean, and do you ever feel like you've made sort of plans to do that? Do you feel like you've made an active effort to do that? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, that's the first elephant in the room that we need to talk about. The second one is the moon, right? Sort of a... Okay, yeah, crazy X is how you would describe it. Okay, very interesting. So this is, of course, the Earth's moon, right? Yeah. And how long did your relationship last? Okay. Okay, interesting. So you really... would you say that you loved the moon? Okay. Would you say that you still love the moon? Okay, no. Good to know. Okay. That's just basic information. I did have a session with the moon a little earlier, and, she did say a lot of different things, but, just to make sure that I have all of the information, trying to get all of that straightened out, I think is a good thing. Okay, so let's talk about a few of your relationships, because while you are sort of the life of the party, you do like to sort of go out and have fun, do a little drinking. I do think that there are a few relationships that are important to you, right? Yeah, absolutely. So let's start chronologically, right? So let's start at the very, very beginning. Let's talk about it. Pluto. Okay. First love is Pluto. Interesting. And how would you describe Pluto now versus then? Okay, so then sort of like first love, you felt like you were lifting them up. Okay, interesting. And that you were like, okay, so now you sort of feel like you're sort of very much above them, right? Like they don't even really count as being a part of your orbit anymore. Yeah, okay. Totally understand. And is that something... Was that? Oh, okay. So you sort of did that on purpose? Okay, I see. Sort of out of retaliation. Okay, well, listen, sometimes you just got to do things because you have to let that emotions out, right? Yeah, absolutely. So next, we have Neptune. At least from what I understanding, is Neptune is your second? Yes. Okay, so how long did you stay with Neptune? Not for very long. Okay, they were a little blue, you would say? Okay. Oh, and they were very farty. Oh, interesting. Why is that? They're just very filled with, like, methane. Okay. Interesting. And how would you say that affected you? Well, okay, so after Pluto, you really wanted someone that was more up your speed, and Neptune really wasn't. That's why it was sort of a short relationship. Neptune wasn't really about that lifestyle, about the party lifestyle, and you were more of the, like... you were very red, very hot, and Neptune was very blue, right? Okay, and you just couldn't take... Okay, so the BO thing, yeah. They were just very smelly. Okay, well, that's a bit sad, I thought there would be more to Neptune there, but okay. What about Uranus? Okay, so a bit of a loner and a bit gloomy, you would say. Okay, but you still sort of... Okay, interesting. So they really attracted you by the mystery. The chase was very important between you and Uranus. Yeah. Okay. You sort of learned to live with the fact that Uranus is sort of a bit of a loner. Okay, yeah. And so you would sort of go out on your own, sort of do your thing, meet with different planets and stuff, and then you would come back home to Uranus. And yeah, absolutely. And so how do you feel about Uranus now? A creep. Okay, interesting. Interesting. It's interesting because I would have thought that you would say that Uranus was a little farty, because they're also pretty, like, methane filled, aren't they? Oh, but they were very self-conscious about their name. I see. So they really were, like, had a handle on that, So one would say that it's very tight. All right, so next on your list of lovers, we do have Saturn. How would you say? Okay, so Saturn sort of was really full of themselves. They did enjoy that, like, party lifestyle, but okay, so they were just really, really full of themselves. They wanted all the attention on them, and they wouldn't let you get any of it. Interesting. Okay, and would you say that you like being the center of attention? Oh, okay. You wouldn't say no to it, but you don't actively seek it out, is what you would say. Okay, absolutely. Okay, and so Saturn, now you would say they're really full of themselves. What about back then? How did you feel about them? Okay, so you felt like you were being sucked into their orbit. Okay, very interesting. Okay. Next we have Jupiter. Too big. Okay, they were just sort of rivaling your, because everybody so far has been a bit small, right? But in comparison to Jupiter, Jupiter is sort of the biggest, you would say, in terms of your previous lovers. Okay, and you sort of don't like sort of the rivalry that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so then no one can rival you. Okay. Okay, so I'll just write down here that. Okay, and then let's go to Mars. So what happened with Mars? Okay, you just didn't really love that Mars had two children, Phobos and Deimos. Okay, and so you felt like you were being asked to sort of grow up a bit too fast, to be a little more present as sort of like a parent figure, and you still hadn't dealt, right, with your parent sort of baggage, sort of the Big Bang and stuff. Yeah. We can totally deal with that. Okay, and okay, what about that? Okay, well, next we have Earth. So I have here that you were in a relationship with Earth. What happened? Okay, so I see. So I could have guessed that, I would say. So you slept with their child, the moon. Okay, totally understand. But who can stop love, right? Love is love. And if you feel like you need to, everybody was of legal age, of course. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Many millions of years old. Okay. Totally. Yeah. Just wanted to make, there's certain things that I do have to know and do have to sort of make sure of. So I'm sorry if that's offensive. We can just move on then. So Venus was a little cloudy, you would say. Okay. You just, you felt like they never let you in because they always had a shield with the clouds. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're the sun, you would really want someone who could really embrace you, right? Embrace the sunlight. Absolutely, totally get it. Okay, and then let's go to your last lover, Mercury. Oh, you're still together with Mercury. Okay, so how would you say Mercury is now? You would describe them as perfect, no flaws, no notes. Okay, interesting. Do you think that you're going to hold that opinion into the future? Yes, you're never going to change that opinion ever. Okay, totally. All right. Well, that's pretty important to know. Thank you for going through that with me. It really does seem like you've had a few stinkers, literally and figuratively. We'll talk about sort of your maybe disdain for parents and whatnot later. Because right now I think it might be important to get to the test. Okay, so this is going to be a bit interesting. This test is there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, you just say what you feel, and if the result doesn't make you happy, at least you'll know, right? So make sure, and this is not comprehensive. This is just to give you a taste, right? To get you thinking about a particular idea. I'm not telling you what it is quite yet, but it starts with it rhymes with narcissism, and starts with an N. Okay, so we have over here some questions that I'm going to ask you. Okay, and if you can't read it, that's okay. I will read it to you. So the first question over here says, do you fantasize about having unlimited success, power, or beauty? And from 1 to 5, 1 being you never fantasize about it, and 5 being you always fantasize about it. Where would you put yourself? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so you put yourself of 0, so even less than never fantasizing about it. Right, so because you have unlimited success and you have unlimited power and you have unlimited beauty, you feel like you exist more in the 0 section than you do on this actual scale, right? Okay, totally makes sense. Okay, so next we have, do you deserve to be treated with the utmost deference, regardless of context, regardless of situation. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, so yes, you always must be treated with deference. Okay, totally. So next, can you stand another person being the center of the universe? Oh, yes, another person being the center of the universe. Yes, maybe, or no. So yes is, we understand. Maybe, so if you feel like you can share it, you can say maybe. No is like, oh, you don't really feel like, you don't feel like it bothers you. Yes, one of your lovers would indicate that yes would be the answer, right? Yeah, okay. All right, next. Do you like to show off? Very simple, yes or no? Okay, yeah, you do like to show off. Just from like our very brief sort of discussions, I would say, so yeah. Okay, next we have number 5. We have, you have a lot to learn from other planets. Yes or no? Okay, no? Okay, yeah, very quick on that beat. Okay, and you take pleasure in the failure of your rivals. Yes or no? No. Interesting. So you don't? Oh, you do take pleasure from the failure of others, but no one is your rival, right? No one is sort of more as powerful as you, and therefore you don't feel like you have any rivals. Okay, interesting. That's a very good sort of, I would say, loophole to this, but I'm very excited for you to think that. Number 7, all you want is to be reasonably happy. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I would say that everybody sort of wants to be reasonably happy, right? Absolutely. Okay. So number 8, if you ruled the universe, it would be a better place. Yes or no? Okay. You're saying a lot. So you would say yes, but you would also add an addendum that you already rule the universe. Okay. Totally. Absolutely. Okay, very interesting answers here. Very, very interesting. Let me write those down. Okay, so this was, of course, a narcissism test. And I just wanted to perhaps put the idea forward that you might struggle with narcissism. Okay, listen. Don't rush out of here. Don't kill me for it. I'm just the messenger here. Listen. Narcissism is not all bad. And, it's a bit of a buzzword now. People talk about it all the time and they diagnose it to people all the time. This is not a comprehensive test. It's just to get you used to the idea that you might have sort of a narcissistic personality or you might have narcissistic tendencies. So what I'm going to need you to do is work on that a little bit. I just need you to do better. Okay? I'm not going to give you any particular notes because our session is almost up. And, I do have to make money somehow. And so you're going to need to come back if you want to fix that. But I think what I would do is I would need you to, at the very least, tell a few of your friends, and particularly your lover Mercury, that you might be narcissistic. See how they react. See how they feel. And whether they agree or disagree. I'm not the center of the universe. So I don't need to tell you if I'm right or not. But I have an inkling that I might be onto something. That's all I'm trying to say. So, yeah. And if you are struggling with it, there are options, there are treatment options, and particularly for celestial bodies, I mean, the options are totally, the treatments are insane. Let me just say that. Okay. So that is it for us today. Did you have any questions for me? No, I don't need a signed autograph of you. I can just look up during the day and I will see you. But listen, if you want to sign, you can sign the release form that's over there when you leave with the receptionist. And when you do that, it'll be good. Okay? All right then. Well, I will see you next time. And I know we didn't talk a lot about the collab with you and the moon. That'll be for next time, okay? This is just to make... Okay. And you get it. You get it. Okay. All right then.